그럼 지금부터 IMO 모의총회 2016 본선 오전 세션을 시작하겠습니다. 발표 순서는 지난 워크숍에서 사전 결정된 순서로 진행하겠습니다. 첫 번째로 희망배 팀의 최저 승무 요건의 효과적인 실행이라는 제목으로 발표가 되겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are Dreamship. We are honored to present here today and going to announce the title of Efficient Implementation of the Minimum Safe Running Level. So let's start now. This is our presentation in depth. I will explain why we choose this title and outline. The next speaker will explain the analysis, and the last speaker will take suggestions of the minimum safe running level. First, I think we have to know what is marine accidents. Marine accidents mean all accidents happen on the board, including sinking, running aground, the loss of ship, and Xeria, and other casualty. Marine accidents influence a huge event in many fields. So, shipping industries have a fairly good safety record. However, there are marine accidents have a high potential for catastrophes. As you know, the most causes of accidents in land are human errors. Human errors mean something has been done that was not intended by the actor, not deserved by a set of rules, or a still external observer, or that lead the task or systems outside its acceptable limits. In short, it is deviations from our intention and expectation. Several studies in this field have concluded that between 18 to 19% of marine accidents are attributable to human error. According to the report by U.S. Coast Guard, the rate of shipping accidents, including tanker accidents, towing vessel groundings, collisions, allisions, and fires explosions, is about 75 to 96%. It means that the maritime system is a people system, and humans' errors figure prominently in casualty situations. That is, human error is more serious than we think it is. Particularly, human errors resulting from fatigue is now widely perceived as the main causes of marine accidents. Marine accidents sometimes pollute our environment. I can give you one example. That is Exxon Valdez. The motor vessel Exxon Valdez spilled oil to the ocean, about 11 to 38 million US gallons, and is considered to be one of the most devastating human-caused environmental disasters. So, the human error is really dangerous to us. To prevent this human error, I IMO has discussed and taken effect many conventions focused on anti-fatigue educations and skills. With this IMO's effort, there are established requirements for fatigue prevention by regulating the hours of work and hours of rest in MSC 2.3. NSTW will impose a minimum period of 10 hours rest in any 24-hour period and 77 hours rest in any 7-day period. Also, there are minimum education requirements of new curriculum in STW Manila Amendments. Now, these are mandatory to each member, for reducing the parents' fatigue. Except those things that I have explained, there are many IMO's efforts to prevent human error. But we can have one question. Nevertheless, why marine accidents due to human error do not decrease? The next speaker will answer about this problem.
Then I would like to explain the answer, because compulsory norms for the safety level of seafarers are not established, which are the most critical elements in maritime safety. We investigate convention and discussion subject about manual level now operating its government. First, the IMO Assembly adopted the resolutions on principle of safe manning, and as soon as Regulation 13 manning is stipulated that each member to ensure all ships safely and efficiently manned. Also, at MS Regulation 2.7 manning level, assure each member shall require all ships a sufficient number of seafarers to ensure all ships shall be sufficiently and efficiently and with due regard to security of the ship. But these conventions are not mandatory and do not provide a clear standard. That is why we have conclusion mandatory safe manning level is necessary. So, we investigate. To understand the current situation and differences of each member, we investigate 6 countries. The 6th country is Marshall Islands, United Kingdom, Republic of Korea, Japan, Panama, and Liberia. The point we have to focus is Panama. This country occupied first place in world shipping tonnage, about 80% in January 2016. This table shows the same main level of 6 countries, and from this table, we can know that the factor of tonnage of each country is considerably various, and there is a difference in number of officers required. Moreover, only Marshall Islands and Liberia adopted the same standard in 6 countries, especially in the case of Republic of Korea and Japan. The aviation license is divided into 6 grades. So even if the same number of officers required, there are different qualifications needed. Although this table shows the summary in only if the navigation order of ocean going. In fact, the division of sailing area is also different for each country. Then we have one question: why is not here Panama? Because they don't have a specific standard on sailing According to the interview with the Panama Embassy, the domestic law about manual labor is just following Emerson Regulation 2.7. That's all. Even though it should be preferred to national standard equivalent as Panama account for as many shipping ton days, it is thought for the residual navigation because of the absence of specific criteria which are not provide details. As a result, according to our comparative analysis on same manual level of selected country, we can find that there is a considerable difference in the level and it can contribute to seafarers' fatigue and also this problem has led to marine accidents. So, our suggestion is to add a new regulation 1/6 same manual level to assist the Convention Chapter 1 general provisions. It is to establish the minimum standard on same manual level at international level. The context is that not only regulation but also Code A and Code B will be following, and of course, regulations and Code A is recommendation, mandatory, and Code B is recommendation. Then, next speaker will present about details of new regulations.
Provisions of regulation safe manual level are as follows. There are general rules of safe manual level applicable to all members. Firstly, in the Provision 1, we present a general purpose. For establish the minimum safe manual level by administration, members shall consider the Provision 2 to meet hours of rest of seafarers on Chapter 8 of the STCW Code. Provision 3 contains information that safe manual level should be applied to all situations. In Provision 4, administration shall establish procedure to consider seafarers' opinions of the minimum safe manual level that the owners apply. Lastly, administration shall comply with the provisions of this regulation and of Code A 1/6 bis of the STCW Code. At the contents of Code A, which is mandatory, we adopt the standard of the period of voyage that is most closely associated with the hours of work and rest of the seafarers and is to prevent the fundamental error of human factor. Accordingly, this code shall introduce the principle of 3 watchkeeper duty system on the vessels navigating more than 24 hours. Additionally, scope of regulation also is introduced as follows. Vessels not engaged on international voyage or less than 500 gross tonnage are applied by administration allowing the East regulation considering the realistic feasibility. And Provision 2 prescribes the principle of calculating the period of the voyage and the number of duty personnel. Provision 2.1 is a method of calculating the duty personnel, and Provision 2.3 is a method to estimate the reference hours. And Provision 2.4 is a method of calculating the duty engineer, and Provision 2.5 is a method to estimate continuous personnel for calculating Provision 1. Provision 3 is a method of calculating the personnel which are not on navigational duty, Provision 4, as mentioned in the previous slide, is to regulate that administration also regards Code P as mandate, although it is recommendation originally. In Code P, you can see the minimum requirements that all members should take into account in determining manning level. We have reference to the requirements that have been discussed in IMO resolution. The capabilities are as follows. Like this, the minimum self-manning level must meet the capabilities to perform almost all of what is happening on the vessel. And next, the abilities are as follows. The ability of ship operation and emergency situation management must be met. And provision 2 is consists of relevant factors which are taken into account to establish the minimum self-manning level. Especially, we adopt the size of ship tonnage to be separated according to the STCW convention to apply more effectively and efficiently to the convention. And in addition, with provision 1 of regulation, administration should promote the establishment of self-manning level that is most closely associated with the seafarer's fatigue by reference hours of work and rest of the MH Convention Regulation 2.3. And to deal with any disagreements, states should take a look at the dispute settlement procedure proposed in the MH Guideline 2.7. This sample table is the minimum self-manning level based on size of ship and the period of the voyage. The period of the voyage division here is to secure compliance with the maximum working hours and the minimum rest time in the Pre-Jet Convention and the MH Convention. Of course, maybe it is difficult to show accomplishment in a short period of time, considering state, type of vessel, and passage of any company. However, at the point of a number of environment pollution is happening and the damage caused by marine accident are ongoing problem, it shall be mandatory to implement the minimum self-manning level to prevent human error. Through our presentation, we want to remind the necessity of implementation of self-manning level and provide a way of solution. This is all we have prepared for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
네, 잘 들었습니다. 이어서 희망배 팀의 발표에 대해서 심사위원 및 다른 참가팀의 질문을 받도록 하겠습니다. 질의응답은 심사위원장님께서 진행하시도록 하겠습니다.
Ready to receive questions? The questions are to be from judges and the participating judges, and the participating team has a limitation of duration of 2 questions for the enterprises. So I have to give, with that in mind, I have to give the participation teams first for the question. Please identify the team members before you put the question. Is there any team?
I think you gave us a really good presentation about our team name is Go to London. And one my question is, in your presentation, gross tonnage determines the criteria of the safety manning level that are adapted to each ship. And my question is how it can be the main factor to determine it. And tiredness of cruise is usually affected by the ship type. And I'd like to explain about why. Thank you.
Because the size of ships is more, we think the size of ships is important to this standard because when operating vessel, there are many things to consider. For example, some vessels same buoyancy period have different size each ship. So maybe STW considers the size of ships in gross tonnage, and is similar to is same to SOLAS. So it is of course considered to our presentation.
May I again invite any participating team to present one more team? Yes, please, Deep Blue.
Thank you very much for your good presentation. It's Deep Blue. I've got a question about your presentation. As I've known, the MSC classify officers' duties into duties for safe navigation, duties for arrival and departure, and duties for boarding. And STCW convention guarantee break time with minimum safe manning. With regard to the presentation, did you just make it according to the safe navigation or according to the 3 duties that I mentioned? This is my question. Thank you.
No, in our presentation there was standard time. Did you see that? Yeah. The standard times, some the hours in one day, continuous times, and divide them into 8 hour or 9 hour. And it is voyage time, and the some 6 voyage time for less 6 months, and average them, it is standard time. When this standard time is less than 8 hours, if the ships whose standard time is less than 8 hours, exceed 20 hours, it should take 2 more it should take 2 duties hours on board. So if the standard time is more than less, then we think it will be okay to just 2 duty officers on board.
Can I now ask judges to Professor
First, thank you very much for your excellent presentation. I have one question. Page on 5, you showed the U.S. Coastal Research data. Regarding this data, could you give us more details? How many ship was included and how many accident was investigated, or when this research date was published, something like that. If you have some more details, now please some more on the explanation, please. Thank you very much.
Quickly, we have some mistakes about that because we couldn't see more particular figures of this our report by US Coast Guard.
Can we take one more question, judges?
Thank you, deeply, for your excellent presentation. It was very thorough. And your suggestions were very interesting. In your presentation and in your amendment, sometimes you have mentioned the wording something shall, and sometimes you put the expression should. Could you explain the difference between why you have used shall in certain sentence and why you have used should for certain sentences? Could you tell us that difference?
Code A, for example, code A we use in regulation, we use shall in code A because it is more mandatory compared in code B. And we think, originally in SDW or other conventions, and code B use shall in code B and guideline of MS guideline. Could be used, use shall, could be and guideline. It is more or less mandatory in code A and is recommendation.
We still have 1 minute left. I would conclude the next
네, 이것으로
very much.
희망배 팀의 발표를 마치도록 하겠습니다. 다시 한번 박수 부탁드립니다.